All right, welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Trade Secrets. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com, where I'm going to tell you about those trade paperbacks and, in some cases, hardcovers that actually might sell for a little bit more than you might expect. So these are just some fun things that you can go and keep an eye on, whether you go through those old trades at your shop or if you find yourself in a used bookstore, flea market, yard sale, that kind of type of thing. Some of these trades are really worth being aware of and knowing about. It's not just, oh, that's an awesome little story inside of that, but some of these are highly collectible. Hopefully, you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make suggestions if you have any. Share your information if you got stuff that you think the rest of us should be aware of. And make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and keep telling your friends so we can keep growing this channel. And if you want to see the selection of books, again, I got a new another dozen for you this time out. Just hang on for a few seconds after this quick little intro, and I will be right back. All right, so let's see what we should be keeping an eye out for on those bookshelves. I know I've been hitting up this topic in these books a lot lately, mostly because it's very close and near and dear to my heart. But there are just also a lot of them that do well, so it's good to be aware of them all. And this time out, no, it's not G.I. Joe again, but it is Transformers. This time out, it's Transformers More Than Meets the Eye. This run again ran for, I want to say, 57 issues thereabouts, I think, with the IDW. So there are maybe about 10 trades that they scattered this about, and a bunch of them do well. So we'll probably come back to this series again, like we're probably going back to GI Joe again, because a bunch of them are very sought after. So we're just going to start off from the top. This is trade paperback number one. Yours might look different, but there is this is the variant cover, I guess almost like a B cover on the trade paperback. And there's also later printings too. So you just got to be careful of those because later printings don't always do that well. I mean, they are reprints after all, and that's just the nature of most things. The collectability, people want the first. So this is the first print, but the variant cover, B cover for it. This collects issues 1, 2, and 3, along with a one shot that was the death of Optimus Prime. This cost $20 when it came out. So considering that, if you did find it in a store, they might be looking for that MSRP, that $20 on the back. But the market has decided they're willing to pay 50 up to $100. There's one for 40. Asking prices right around a $50 mark. So you can quickly double up, get a little extra for your money if you can go and find one of these with you know, Rodimus Prime, I guess, because I don't think that's Hot Rod. It might be Rodimus Prime at that point, because we're talking about the death of Optimus. But with that said, that's trade number one, and we're going to do the first few for this series. That's how we're going to kick this one off, and then I got other stuff. It's not all Transformers the whole way, so don't worry. But we do have a couple of more Transformers to look at going into number two. Real close up, I think this is also the same cover to issue 7 of the actual series, so some of the covers and images might look familiar, but this is actually on the trade. Again, another $20 trade. This one collecting issues 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So yeah, you got 5 books in there. Another $20. This one also does all right if you could find one. Sale prices $50, $70, $70, $80. There's one listed right now looking for $75. Again, not too bad. And it's a pretty awesome cover too when you take a look at it. Moving on. Yes, even number 3 can do all right. Once again, another $20 is what it'll cost if you look at the price on the back. This is collecting the annual from 2012 and issues 9, 10, and 11. So similar to that first issue, it's got an oversized issue kind of mixed in with just a 3-pack. So we're already 3 trades in, and we're only through issues 11 of the actual series, which is why you can see how that 57 is going to get us, issue 57 is going to get us up to like a 10th volume. But with that, this is a pretty cool cover again to keep an eye out for. You got Hot Rod right there in the middle. Another 70, $60, and a $40 sale to report. A few more listed on this one, though. A few more available. And these are all, again, looking for decent money. They're asking 70, 90, 95, $100 basically on this. It's $100 for a trade. Not too bad, right? This is why this stuff is worth knowing. If you can find it. I'm not saying these things are easy to find. Not saying these things are going to be you're going to find them anywhere. Just pointing out that there are different little spots in our hobby where it's just that extra little info could really help you out if you know what you're looking at. So figured to try to give you some of that info so you could make use of it when you're out there collecting, out there hunting, and out there looking at stuff. Because again, you may not even think to know what you're looking at. You might again find yourself in a used bookstore on vacation, just somewhere, and you didn't even want to go in there. Your kids or your wife wanted to go look at some books or some antiques, and you just happen to find, hey, they got a stack of trades. Let's see what's in here. Anything interesting? And maybe some of these things will be stuck in your head and jog your memory and go, oh, that Transformers Volume 3, that More Than Meets the Eye, that's worth them some money, I think. Oh, what do they want? They want $5? Cool. Oh, or just take the time and look on your phone if you have access and if you have a signal, and you'd be like, oh, this is $100 book. Maybe I should buy this. So with that, we just got a couple more. I'm going to do the first 5 of this run. So here's 4. Again, another $20. As you can see, this is collecting issues 12 through 16. Prices on this one, not too bad. More sales, 70, 70, 85, 80. Pretty consistent. Asking prices anywhere from $65, $100, $115 on this one. Not too bad, right? Definitely not too bad. And let's get into our last Transformers trade for today. And this is going to be the volume 5. Again, we'll do the second half of these another time because, again, those also do well. But this is another $20 trade collecting issues 17 through 22. We're not even halfway through the run. But there you go. 17 through 22. We got none listed on this one right now. So you can't go and grab one. But the ones that sold for $80, $80, $94. And a cheap, by comparison, $45. Just saying. Information worth knowing. That's all. Sticking on this nostalgia kind of angle, because this is the kind of stuff that I know about. This is the kind of stuff that I like. This is the kind of stuff that would catch my eye. Again, I don't know a ton about these things. I'm learning as I go and doing some research about these trades, because trade collecting has never been a big thing for me. I mean, I bought The Walking Dead, all the volumes in trade paperbacks for Walking Dead because I wanted to read it, and I couldn't afford to buy the floppy issues. And I didn't want to buy the whole hardcover omnibuses because those also can get expensive too. So I just collected the trades. Granted, that's not an example of something that's worth money now. It's just that's kind of my foray into this side of the hobby. I do have some hardcovers. I got the Ultimate collection I'm almost done for Invincible. I got some other omnibus trades and things like that because I just like them, and I bought things that I've already read and that I like. But on some cases, I get things that I want to read, and it's easier to buy them collected in trade paperback form than it is to go and chase those individual comics. So with that said, I'm learning as I go too. So come on this journey with me as we take a look at Gargoyles next. Yep, Gargoyles has gotten a resurgence with the new series getting published over there at Dynamite. There's also talk of something happening again. I don't know if it's going to be a new animated series. I think it might have been rumors of like a live action. We'll see if we get more Gargoyles in our future. But in the middle of this, not that original Marvel run, this was the slave labor graphics run, which was very short-lived. And we got 3 trades out of it. So we're going to look at all 3 because they all do very well. MSRP on this is $19.95. So again, another $20 to buy this collected edition. This collects the first 6 issues of that slave labor graphics series. Now, this one on its own does all right. It does even better when it's paired up with Volume 2, which we'll get into in a second. Just as examples, paired up, one sold for $555 for the set. Another one accepted a best offer for $200. Not too bad. That looks like a very good price when you start to consider some of these asking prices. Look, there are graded copies of this trade paperback because, yes, you can get many of these trade paperbacks and collected editions graded by CGC if you so desire. I don't know much about it. I don't know what kind of premium you would definitely get for things like this, but you can see what people are asking who have done it before you. And 8.5 of this trade paperback is asking $1,100. Individually, somebody's asking $600 for this volume 1, and then there's another 8.5 that's looking for $900. Just saying. And then there was an auction with trades 1 and 2, starting at $432. Looks like it's coming out of Germany. So there's also $50 shipping. So keep that in mind. Just saying, it is what it is. But if you are interested, this is just something just to keep an eye on because it's not easy to find these online. As you can see, the asking prices and sale prices are already very, very expensive, but you never know what you might stumble across out there. I mean, I know what I'm looking for. I haven't found this, but I know to look for it, and I'll always keep looking for it because I know it can get me some money if I find it. That said, we're going to get into that volume 2, and volume 2 is pretty interesting, apart from the fact that they gave us a Star Wars homage on the cover here. Another $20 MSRP, about $19.95. The interesting thing about this one is this is going to collect issues 7 through 12, but Slave Labor actually didn't publish all of these issues until this trade. Issues 9 through 12 are only available in this trade paperback because the series got canceled and the floppies didn't continue. So you can only buy comics through 8. But if you want to finish the story, you got to buy this trade because they were never published separately. So that's an interesting little footnote. And again, another little weird thing about these trades and some of these collected editions. Sometimes there'll be like little add-on stories mixed in or a forward written by another famous, writer or artist, etc. Just extra little tidbits that might be included in a collected edition that's not available out there, to get individually. It's not often the case, but sometimes is the case as we have here, where you're getting 3, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 issues that you could not buy before in this collected edition. But with that, you can see some of those recent sales again paired up, $555 and that $200 one we talked about already. But individually, there was a $200 sale just on February 4th, just a couple of days ago as well. And again, these are some recent sales. This is something that is known and very popular if you can find it. Individual asking prices, $444, $600, and then that same 1 and 2 auction starting at $432 out of Germany. So again, you see some carryover and connection because sometimes these are paired up with volumes 1 and 2 together, but even on their own, hundreds of dollars, right? Hundreds of dollars is definitely worth knowing for something you could have found in a bookstore for $20. Who knows? Who knows? One more out of Slave Labor. They had a mini series based off of their villains, I guess. So we have Gargoyles Bad Guys. I think they spotlighted these villains in individual issues. I think there's only 4 of them because this collects issues. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I forgot to update that down below. That should be issues 1 through 4 because I think it's 4 issues inside of this, and it was only $17.95 for this collected edition. But with that said, you can see this still does pretty well on its own. We're looking at $275, $340 for this trade, and then somebody accepted a best offer on a $240 ask for $190. And then right now we've got none available. So it's one of those tough little things. Might not be the easiest thing to find, but if you do, we're talking about money here. Decent money for this. So mental Rolodex, put it in there. Just remember Gargoyles, and then further remember Slave Labor. Slave Labor graphics. SLG, you might see as the logo on the back. Keep that in mind. You'll do all right if you can find any of them. That's it. All right, let's pivot away from nostalgia with Gargoyles and Transformers and give you something more mainstream. Batman. Who would think that some Batman trades do as well as they do? I mean, Batman's a popular comic. It's been published for decades. Trades are collected all the time, right? But even with that said, certain volumes can do all right because of what they collect, and they make it easier for the readers, and they just find their own level of collectabilities because some people do just collect trades. They don't buy individual floppy comics. Some people, they are more in that manga vibe, like that style where they're collecting digests and thicker and longer form stories is how they want to read it. So whatever it be the case of why, this $34.99 trade paperback, which collects Batman's 445 through 465 and annual number 15, this thing, well, again, $35 buy-in, can get you a return of $260, $125, best offer accepted $115, another one sold for $280. Yeah, for a trade paperback. Right now listed, some examples. There's, I think, a few more of this one listed, but 340, $200 by itself. And then somebody has, this is part of a Cape Crusader volume collected edition. So this is volume 4 of Batman. It's Batman. I'm sorry if I didn't mention that at the start. Batman, the Cape Crusader, volume 4. This is, Alan Grant, Norm Breyfogle. But somebody's selling all 6 volumes of that run that they call the Cape Crusader for $900. $900. Granted, $35 a piece. It's already a little on the expensive side. So getting all 6, you're looking at close to $200 as it is, but still, from 2 to 9, that's a healthy premium. So once again, it's good info to know, right? And while I jumped ahead to volume 4, another one to keep an eye out for, because not all of these do great. Some of these are only like $50. Like, it depends. So I'm showing you the ones that kind of stand out more, because I don't want to waste your time going through everything if you don't need to know if something's not worth anything. You know what I mean? So this is volume 1. Started off, you should be caught immediately by the Todd McFarlane cover. That just kind of jumps out at you. You should recognize, I mean, his name's right there in the bat symbol on the cover. This one was only $30 for that first volume of the Cape Crusader volume 1. You can see that trade dress, which will match across all of the volumes in this set. With that said, this one's collecting Batman's 417 through 425, 430 to 431, and annual number 12. They're just kind of jumping and collecting different chunks and things together. But still, is it just because of the cover? No, because, well, you can get the cover elsewhere. This is, again, it's how the collected market works. It's just a little different. $75, $40, $120. And then again, somebody bought all 6 at auction for $400, which, again, still double, around about what it might cost. Individual listings right now available. It's available for $120. 6 are available for $935. Individually, this is also asking $200 and $300. Again, some of the prices are all over the place, but by and large, the point is it's a lot more than the buy-in on the manufacturer suggested retail price, the MSRP there. So again, just something to know, just something to be aware of. And again, this is a cover image that could catch your eye. So easy one to track down. But at the same time, while there's a lot of $100 and $300 asks, that doesn't mean this always sells for that either. You can see there, somebody bought one for $40. Granted, they probably didn't know what they had, and that one sold like immediate listing, because even right around it, you can see 20 bids, one got up to almost $80. So, just saying, be mindful of it, keep an eye on it, even put it in your eBay alerts if you want to see, if you're looking for some of these, you think some of these are cool. You never know. Like, maybe somebody lists something cheap like that, $40 or less with a best offer, and then you can sneak one before everybody else if you're quick on the draw, Okay. Anyway, those are 2 Batmans to keep an eye out for. We're going to pivot yet again to Dragonlance. Yeah, Dragonlance Classics. This is like a Dungeons and Dragons series. The collected edition here would have cost you $30 thereabouts. This collects issues 1 through 8 of the Dragonlance comic series. The comic series, you can find all of them pretty cheap. Like, they don't actually sell for all that much individually. So once again, it's the collected editions are more collectible in some cases. And while I don't have a recent sale to point out for you on this one, there's one listed looking for $250. So sometimes there may not be an example of what the market is, but the market will tell you this is kind of where they're at. So if you could find the Dragonlance Classics volume out there, you could be looking at $250. Just saying. All right. And then we got one more for you. Our final trade is actually not a trade paperback for today. This is actually going to be a hardcover, but in the same vein and the same idea. It's a collected edition, a graphic novel, not your regular old comic book. So this time out, we are looking at the Eltingville Club comic book science fiction. You can read it out there on the cover. So $20. This will cost you. Again, little hardcover, not too much going on here. I mean, it does collect and reprint 11 issues, but the issues are not don't appear to be that thick. It's not like a huge collected edition, but this one could do quite well. It's Evan Dorkin, cult creator out there. So this is stuff that may not be easy to find on its own out there in the floppy form. So getting things like this collected is better and easier for a lot of Dorkin fans. So Evan Dorkin did what, Milk and Cheese, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. But here for this hardcover collected edition, we can see somebody did get one relatively cheap for 25 bucks at auction back in December. But outside of that, this is 151 at auction, $200 buy it now, and there is one listed right now that's asking 200 bucks. So again, $20 hardcover could get you 200 bucks. It's 10 times your investment. That's a good return if you could find it. So, but at the same time, you could see that's not always the case. It matters on how things are listed sometimes. You can see what's the difference between the listing that only got 25 bucks as opposed to the one that got $150 with 40 plus bids, and the other one got basically one bid. Well, it could just be the way they listed it. They listed it with the most basic terms. They just gave you the title by Evan Dorkin, HC. Well, meanwhile, the second one added the milk and cheese part of it. So maybe it reminded people who the creator was. And then the next one after that added, sealed. And there's other aspects that could have gone into this because, again, as a hardcover, this could be sealed in the original plastic, or it could have been opened and read. And yes, sometimes condition will matter to a degree, but not as much as it does as comics. I would say that. Not to say that you're gonna anybody will go pay a premium for some beat up trade, but if you did have a red trade, you could still probably find a market for some of these more expensive ones. You will still find a market. You may not get top of the market prices, but you'll still get something in return. Whereas with our comics, you buy a modern comic, if it's beat up, there's a good chance you won't be able to sell that thing to anybody because they won't want it for something that's newer, etc. But with that said, there's different levels to this. I'm still learning as I go as well, but these are 12 trades and hardcovers that you should keep an eye out for in case you stumble across them out there in the wild. So with that said, thanks for stopping by. Make sure you can go and check out the article over on comicbookinvest.com where I'll spotlight a couple of these. And got plenty more content coming your way. So make sure you come back tomorrow for the tax show. We're going to go and look at the future of Marvel. The potential future of Marvel. My buddy writer over at comicbookinvest.com, Jack Kornblatt, is going to actually join us for the first time on the show. And we're going to run down through his article. He did a recent article about what Timeless might be teasing in Marvel Comics in the years to come. So we're going to take a look at that. And we're going to tier list it, talk about it, and have a little bit of fun looking ahead at Marvel. And all the normal shenanigans that we do every Wednesday. And then, come back on the weekend for all the other live shows. And with that said, thanks for stopping by and checking this out. And I will see you all later with some more content. All right.